Hi everyone, and welcome to our ProQuality community event. And today we will talk about the importance of soft skills in our workplace, and we'll explore what of them are essential to lead the team. And before we start, I would like to mention several organizational questions. Uh, During our event, we will use Menti.com tool. So please welcome to Menti.com. You can enter the site on your browser and use the code that you can see on the screen, or just scan QR code that you can see um, here as well. This tool is used for interaction with you, so and we will be happy if you join it. Okay, so I see that at least 18 of us have joined, so thank you guys. Also, during the event, if you have any questions, please use our chat in YouTube. And also, you can ask the speaker in menti.com in the end of the event. So let's start, and let me introduce our speakers today. Nataliya Kryvonis from Lviv. Hi, Nataliya.
Hi, Vyacheslav. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to our quality community. And can you tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Yes, sure. First of all, again, nice to greet you all here on our Pro Quality Community meeting dedicated to soft skills. I have 15 years of experience in IT. I started as junior QA engineer, then grew to senior, then to lead, and now I'm QA manager in a British company, UK-based company Aptem. We are dealing with different services. We providing our clients services for vocational training, for different kind of education, qualification, search for work in UK. Yeah.
Thank you. So, as far as I see, we have a very mature testing engineer and leader, and I'm sure that you, Natalia, have a wealth of experience to share with us today. So, and we are all excited to hear from you. So, let's start. Natalia, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Vyacheslav, and that's a pleasure to be here and to thank you for compliments. Hope our presentation will be useful for you and you can take it into practice in your team. So let's start. And before we start, I'd like to ask you a question. Why do you think some leaders are successful in in leading a team, and some are not? And while you're responding, I would like to add two comments. Today, we are going to talk about soft skills and emotional intelligence, especially for leaders, but for managers as well. All of us know that there is a difference between a leader and a manager, but all topics I'm going to cover today can be applied for both. Like leaders can use that in their practice and managers as well, because this is important for both. And another comment I'd like to talk before we start this presentation. Topic is kind of psychological, but we are going to talk about it from a management perspective, like from my own experience and from experience of my colleagues, my team, and other teams which shared that experience with me. Like, of course, you can find many information related to that on web. There are huge number of articles for that, but we are going to talk about some aspects from practice. Okay, I see many responses. Thank you, guys. Successful ones take into consideration human factors and relationships. Great. I think you can read the screen, because I don't know, should I take time to read loudly all comments, but I'm skimming them. And I agree, you're right. Um, I like that comment. They are lack of continuous personal development. That's probably about not successful leaders. Yeah, because if person doesn't develop um, himself, of course, that person cannot develop any other people. Okay, great. Thank you for comments. Let's continue this presentation. Like I'm summarizing all your comments and like kind of wrapping up what we will talk today. And successful leaders, of course, they develop their emotional intelligence and build safe surrounding, and let people understand that they are heard, because that's very important, to let people talk. And we will see all these points today in more details, and also we plan to discuss some case. This is case from my practice. I will share with you details about that in the end of our presentation. Now let's talk about some statistic related to emotional intelligence. First of all, what is emotional intelligence? You can find, again, many articles, many definitions of that in web, but there are four main points. Well, there are actually two. This is recognition and regulation. Recognition means that you can recognize your emotions, and you can recognize others' emotions, like self-awareness, that's about you, and also understand emotions of other. And another part, this is regulations. Then you can deal somehow with that emotions, like you can deal with your emotions, and also you can impact others' emotions, like you can somehow communicate such way to okay, I can see your comments as well here. Yeah, that's about emotional intelligence. And why it's important, because it's essential soft skills which is used in every negotiation. Now let's continue with statistics. I took that from web. You can find references in the end of that slide. You can go there for more details. But in general, if talk about decision making, by research, 90% of decisions are emotional and only 10 are logical. Is it something new for you, or that's obvious? How do you feel about that? Please add your comments in our chat. As for engagements, again, if there are empathetic leader, then 76% of employees are engaged with such leaders, and only 32 without them. Again, about innovation, if leader develop his soft skills, people in his team are more innovative. This is based on research. 61% employees are innovative. And in general, if you have high emotional intelligence, it will lead you to higher productivity in everything. A few practical moments. What does mean for me and for leading teams at emotional intelligence? This is active listening. Of course, constructive feedback. All these points I can really talk much, like I can develop each of them, but here I'd like only list them quickly because we are going to have a case study in the end. No comparison among people, of course. And you have to encourage your team to ask questions, because sometimes people are afraid to ask questions, but that's very important, as there is no stupid questions at all. And even if person thinks the question is stupid, it can save you money in the end, because for someone it's stupid, but in general it's not. So you have to encourage your team to ask questions. And of course, if you want your team to be proactive and innovative, you have to show such example and to be a leader. And again, if talk about using emotional intelligence in negotiation and in everyday communication, if you have it, like if you develop your emotional intelligence and negotiate, it will lead you to a deal. But if you do not apply emotional intelligence, it can cause a conflict. Now let's talk especially about QA engineers. Why do we need that soft skills and why they are important and how we can apply them on practice? We all know that QA take part on all stages of software development life cycle. And also we are communicated with different parties of that. If we take part on early stages of testing, it's very important for us to ask proper questions. For example, QA participate during refinement. Okay, before that, I will add one more comment about processes. Probably all of you know that now, not now, but in general, testers should participate on all stages, not only in the end. Because if you participate only in the end, you only test, this is maybe, I don't know, this is really only testers. But if you prove quality, you have to participate from the very beginning. You have to understand what is the purpose of that feature or of that change. And that's why we are taking active part during refinement, and we have to be there, proactive, initiative, like again, ask proper questions. Then we can apply our emotional intelligence during pair testing. If you test together with person who doesn't have any thoughts about emotional intelligence, it's very difficult, because you cannot even communicate with that person about time, about approach, about nothing. And of course, it's important to ask all these questions in advance to do that pair testing properly. About another side, if you lead teams, and people can have different personal traits, and if leader or manager understands that, I mean, if manager or leader develop soft skills and emotional intelligence, that leader can understand that some people in his team like to be praised. Some people like to be responsible, important, or valuable. It means that you have to assign such kind of task to let that people feel that responsibility, importance, or value. Because if you assign something which is kind of silly, very simple, very not valuable for whole team or for customer, I know there is no such thing, but still, that person won't feel that importance, and it can become boring at some point of time. Also, it's very important to recognize talents in your team and choose tasks accordingly. Again, some tasks are more routine, some tasks require more logical skills, some require more straightforward, and so on, so on. Another important point I would like to talk about, this is about letting your team to find the decision by themselves. Because there are different approaches in leading or managing. Sometimes your manager just came with some problem and suggests the solution and only ask team to make it doable, like to only to follow the instruction with already presented solution. It can work for some junior team, but if you always lead your team like that, your team will be never developed. And people can get used to that, and it can lead only to stagnation, because you can always grow your team and let them to make their own decision. If you have already some decision in your mind, you can lead the team to that decision. Like, you can ask proper questions, you can ask different solutions, like brainstorm them. You can organize that in different way. Yeah, and of course, let your people to be creative. Okay, Vyacheslav, do we have some questions so far? I can answer them now or in the end of presentation, or I can move to case study already. Okay, I see only replies for my previous question, so I believe we can start with case study now. Okay, this is one case from my practice. It happened between engineering manager and other team, especially with QAs. And we had the situation with very long meetings, always. There were long meetings without any final decisions in the end. They were exhausting. We had risk of losing QA. Of course, it can develop to even wider, like company-wide conflict. And of course, it can lead us to fail a project deadline. Because engineers in that team were responsible to me. I was their line manager, so I decided to facilitate that situation. And what we did? First of all, we gathered feedback separately from all parties. Like, we gathered feedback from QAs, developers, and engineering manager. Then organized meetings. And after that, I prepared spreadsheet with such section you can see on screen, like general statement, then testers' expectations, then developers' expectations, then a to-do list for developer and to-do list for tester. Why it important to do like that? Because if you have the statement listed, everyone can read, can think about that, can commit to them, and there is less possibility to have conflict in the end, because everything was communicated in the beginning and everyone agreed what they want to achieve and what they commit to, sorry. All parties fill it, that spreadsheet. We had some additional meetings, and also we discussed the worst case. In our worst case was that someone, or QA or engineering manager, will move to another team or even leave the company. And after 2 weeks, after we did that spreadsheet and agreed everything, we already had less meetings. QAs were more engaged into process than before, because before engineering manager provided like everything by himself. We had the case when you just take someone by hand and let someone from point A to point B. But as I said, it works for juniors, not for more mature team. And we had less pressure from engineering manager, more understanding between different parties like developers and QAs. And the team started work together, like not separately, like fast developers develop something and then QA test something. Not. They supported each other, like started to support each other. It was not ideal communication so far, but at least we were on that way. After 1 month, we had even more initiative from QA, less pressure from engineering manager, less suggestion from him. Also, we introduced some self-reflection after each meeting, like people analyze it, was that meeting useful? Did they get something from it or not? They had more room for breathe to make own decision, and they applied early testing on local environment. And of course, in the end, we met project deadline. Yeah, and I'd like to share with you my, this is not secret, but my own recipe, why I think in majority cases, I'm successful in managing teams, because I really like people. And always I try to believe them without any initial prejudice. So that's it as for presentation. It was quite quickly without interaction, but I believe we will have a chance to interact now, so I can read your comments and reply to questions. Yes, so please ask your questions.
Thank you, Natalia, first of all, for your for sharing this very important topic for us and some tips that can be useful for leaders and people who want to be a real leader and managers in futures. It was really interesting. So, guys, we are moving to the Q&A session right now, and if you have any questions for Natalia, please welcome to ask them. Use our minty.com tool or just post your comments in YouTube channel, and we will ask them. We have enough time, I think, to ask all questions that you can have. And we have had several questions from our VIA community platform. So we can start with them.
Okay.
So the first question is the following. How to explain the conservative clients workers who doesn't want any change that your solution is really better, faster, and overall it's time to move on with technologies?
Okay, thank you. I got the question. Okay, how I would deal with that? There are a few points. First, I would suggest to start with something small, like take, for example, if you have some legacy code, you can take small part which can be distributed from other and suggest your solution and list merits and demerits of it and merit of demerits of previous code. This is one of example. Like take something small, suggest your approach, and suggest why it's better. Another one, all these things I'm sharing, it can be merged. Like you can select something in the middle. Another one, of course, for such question, you can take, you can prepare some metrics. You can think in advance what metrics will show that their approach is old school, unofficial, non-productive. But it's very important to think in advance about such metrics because as far as I know, some managers collect metrics just for metrics, but there is no sense for that. You have to collect metrics to prove something or to show something. Like should be a reason to collect metrics. And another one, if you try to present something to your top management or to your client, you have to think from that point why. There is a nice presentation, TEDx, from Simon Sinek with why. And also there is a book, Ask Why. And in that presentation, I saw it some time ago. Simon used example from Apple. Why, for example, iPhone is such successful? Because they started with why, and after that replied to all other questions. I don't know. Is it more clear now? Like I helped you at least a bit with answering that first question. You can just sum up somewhere or ask a developed question to that.
Okay, thank you. I totally agree that if we have some numbers or some things that we can prove, it helps us to promote our solution, right? And see how it was, for example, before and how it can be in future if we implement, for example, such improvements, right? Cool, thank you. And let's move to the next question from our VIA community platform. Natalia, how? Yeah,
Vyacheslav,
okay.
sorry for interruption. We have questions here. Maybe we can switch to them, or I don't know, because here this is lively.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's maybe, yeah, let's try to ask questions that we have had here in menti.com and then move to the questions that were posted before. Okay, yeah, cool.
Thank you.
So the first question is, how do you motivate your own team members?
Thank you. That's really my question. I like it because also sometimes I work as a coach, and this is one of the like very common request people ask how to motivate yourself and team and so on. So first of all, to motivate team members, I think that's impossible to motivate them to do something that they see no sense and they don't want to do. So they have to I have to show my team members something which will lead them or which add them to their own success. For example, like this is not always praise, of course, because we have two theories like praise and bite, but this is more about praise. Like if you show your team members that we are all keen about something, and after getting that, it will lead us to that point we all want to, they will be motivated. And another one, they can be motivated based on, as I said already, based on their personal traits. If some person wants to be responsible for something, I can say that this is your responsibility. This is nice chance to start your career as a more senior tester. And this is nice chance to prove that you can lead that direction, and you can start to do that. And I'm not fan of artificial motivation at all, because this is like, that example when people come to coach and say, I want to wake up early in the morning. But why? Why do you want to wake up early in the morning? Because this is very fashionable now, or this is very like mouth washing, or I don't know. Like you have to have like your own reason for that. And to motivate your team, you have to show why do they do that. Because motivate without any sense, it's very difficult. Like motivate people, for example, to continue developing legacy code only because of money. Well, it can work for only a few people who are eager of money only, without any further values. But for in general, you can motivate your team members if you show them why we do that. And if their eyes become brighter of that end time goal, they will be motivated. If not, well, you have to find something else to find other people for that.
Yeah. Yeah, agree, and I can add that they can rely on you, and you can support them in their direction to meet some goals, for example, company goals or team goals or other stuff. Yeah. Um, so let's move to the next question on Menti.com. If you switch to another
Yeah.
one,
I
Natalia,
I will move. Yeah.
okay, cool.
How does one develop better emotional intelligence? Okay, how to develop better emotional intelligence. You have to start to develop your self-awareness, first of all. For example, when some situation happened, you have to stop for yourself and understand how do you feel. Like analyze that situation. How do you feel? Um, so first, what emotions do you feel now, and what behavior it causes, and why? Like this is analyze that from meta position somehow. This is about self-development, but of course you can take different courses for that. And one more, there is many games. I don't know is it many or not, but at least I saw some with cards. There are different cards with images, and in the end of the image there is a questions. How do you think that people feel? Do you think they are happy or not? This is very simple example. And you take that card, you look at it, and you answer that question by yourself. And after that, you turn it and read the answers. What was the correct answer for those questions? And you can compare how high your emotional intelligence is with comparing your own answers and answers on their cards. This is like one of instrument. But I think the better one is to take some pause after some situation, understand why do you feel like that. Like, first of all, you have to understand your emotions and why do you feel, and after that behave like that. uh, Only after that stage you can look into others emotions, because if you do not understand your own, uh, this is like stop breaks, this is like milestone you have to pass, and only after that you can start developing your emotional intelligence further. So first of all, you have to understand yourself. And one more, there is very good exercise. You have to write down your mood, emotion, and situation every interval of time. It can be, for example, every 2 hours. There are different variations of that exercise, but every 2 hours. And if you have the table, after that you can structure it, like analyze and structure it, and you can understand from that table what causes you to feel bad and what reflects to your mood. This is like one of exercise can be applied to develop your emotional intelligence. But simply, first of all, understand yourself, and after that try to understand other people.
Thank you, Natalia. And we have one more comment, I suppose, that related to this particular question from Elizabeth. Let me read. Psychotherapists and other specialists are also a relevant option. Reflection on your emotions and behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Mm. Okay, cool.
Therapy can help you with that. Of course, I
Yeah,
agree.
cool. Let's move to the next question we have in menti.com. And it is
Okay.
what
What
was
was
do you want me to read?
what was your biggest challenge as a leader? Okay. Um, Two cases came to my mind immediately after I read that. I can share it too. The first one was it was many years ago, more than 10, I think. I joined one team. Uh, there were three QA engineers, but all of them were not mature enough to be a leader. And I joined the team not as leader either. Like I joined it just because the team required more QA engineers. And once our Scrum Master from USA came to Lviv, and she had to spend with us some time and decide who will be a leader in that team. And of course, I was very new to the team, but I want to be a leader. But all other team members knew already all application, all processes, like everything. And it was very difficult for me. But what was the like major key why that Scrum Master selected me, that we had presentation and her laptop went down because of battery or something else. I do not remember. And I suggested to move to another room and took another laptop. And it was suggested so quickly and like really. And she decided that I will be a leader there, and I became a leader there in the team. It was my first job where I was a leader, like I started in that team. And it was very, very challenging for the first time because I didn't know anything about project, about processes. And I thought that time, I thought that for leader, you had to know everything. Now I understand that it's not necessarily. You have to have some skills. You have to know how to lead the team. You have to know how to organize meetings, how to collaborate with different parties, and so on, so on. But that time, wow, it was very challenging for me. I fight it all day. But after some time, team get used to me and we had very fruitful collaboration. This is one example, and another example, it's more sad, I would say. I was leader from the very beginning, but I had one K engineer in my team who was not skilled enough. And I had to do all work instead of that K engineer. And it was also a long time ago. I had no clues at time about my personal boundaries, and it took me 2 years to understand how to deal with that situation. Like almost 1 year, I did all work instead of that QA engineer because I was a lead and I was responsible for a team. It was terrible, honestly, but in the end, I even presented my own training for personal boundaries. Yeah, but it was very difficult, like very harmful for me in that time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing interesting cases from your, like say, beginning of leader career. uh,
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have
You're welcome.
less than 20 minutes left and a couple of questions. So let's try to ask them all. And maybe, Natalia, I can kindly ask you to be maybe a little bit
Okay,
brief.
sure.
Okay. So the next question is, as a tech team leader, how should you act if a project manager encourages and actively pushes people to work unpaid overtime? How would
Um,
you deal with it?
okay. I do not support the idea for people to work unpaid overtime. This is first of all, and this is value which I was looking for when I joined my current company. Okay.
So yeah, and unpaid overtime and lead to lack of motivation from the team, right? And
Yeah, and
negative
for burnout,
consequences, burn down, and so on. Yeah, and it can be hard to lead your team if you are not able to resolve such questions. Yeah, to
uh,
provide good conditions for work.
yeah, first of all, we need to ask a project manager why he do so. I believe because of project deadline. But
Hmm.
why that deadline was not communicated? Was it issue with estimates or what? Well, if we cannot do anything with that, because as I understand, this is it was communicated in the past, but we have now situation with overtimes. Uh, we can clearly say our project managers, this is not our commitment. Then, well, we can work overtime like once or 2 times, and after that it has to be paid or it has to be replaced with some day offs or something like that. But show our project managers that it leads us to less productivity in the end, that we are burning out and we cannot overtime. Like really show that to him without conflicts. Just provide your feelings, provide that it was not communicated in the beginning, that it was not your commitment, because there is also possible another situation that you estimate it incorrectly. In this case, you have to somehow request additional meeting and discuss that your estimates were wrong and discuss together how you can deal with that, like find some consensus.
Yeah, yeah, right. And you can also use metrics or numbers if you have. So yeah, to increase your chances to resolve this efficiently. Cool. Let's maybe move to the next question. Yeah.
I do not have any here.
What
Next.
so thank you very much for presentation. Can you recommend some materials, videos, or courses related to this topic? Natalia, I know that you have mentioned some books, so I could propose maybe to share some materials if you have somewhere in our VR community platform, and guys can open our page with event and find all necessary information there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it will be useful for everyone. I do not have anything prepared here right now to suggest you. Only these things I mentioned, these links in presentation, and that why technique I mentioned from Simon Sinek. Uh, but I can definitely find something because there is plenty of different really useful articles and videos in web which can I recommend.
Okay.
And also there are many courses on Udemy. There is very good course for leaders which includes soft skills and emotional intelligence on Udemy. I do not remember title of that course, but that course for leaders on Udemy is very good. But this is paid one. I of course I can find and share after that if someone is interested.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let's move on.
Okay.
No, maybe above.
Yeah, but this one I missed some screen.
Okay. How can a busy team leader keep technical skills up to date and be hands-on?
Okay, first of all, why team leader is busy? This is already a sign about maybe some lack of technical skills. Yeah, I understand because sometimes I always busy and in my previous job I had the same situation. I was like senior K engineer, K manager without title, like unofficially. Officially, I was senior K engineer, leader, and we had Kanban process. We with product company, not even product company, but a startup, and it was terrible. Like, yeah. So I understand, but first of all, if you're a team leader and you're always busy, that something is wrong with process or something else, or you have to delegate more, like delegate more tasks. This is again developing of your soft skills because you have to rely on people. You have to choose what people are capable to do some task and delegate, like delegate more and more. uh, Even you think that you can do that task better, of course you can, but if there are so many of such tasks, what would you do? There is no way except delegation to free you a bit. So first of all, here to answer that question, like make you more free with delegation, and after that see how you can relax and develop some technical and soft skills.
Yeah. Okay.
This
Let's
one
move
I
on.
replied. Yeah. Okay. That. Yes. And thank you for listening.
How to deal with the staff who is always procrastinating their tasks?
Well, tough question. Um, Maybe split that task to a simple one, like decomposing is very good. First of all, I would understand why people procrastinating. The common case with procrastination is or task is very big or it's very simple. Like I see no like very big or very simple, or maybe a person has no clue how to deal with the task. Like find out the reason why people are procrastinating, and after that apply actions based on that.
Yeah. So try to resolve by communication. Yeah.
Mhm.
How to deal? The next question is how to deal with with colleagues or employees who are suffering from depression and it may be affecting their own teams and work. Work. Yeah, no teams.
Okay, Elizabeth, if I'm not wrong, already suggested therapists. This is like one of the option. Another options, it can be some additional day off. Uh, and I understand many people now are working in such circumstances that we are always in stress and we have to develop our resilience. So I would here suggest to work with therapist or take some rest, and also let them people understand that you emphasize with them, like be more empathic for them. It doesn't mean that you can say, well, skip the task because you have depression. No, not like that. But you have to ask, how can I help you? What can help you? Like what we can do together? What do you think you need? Um, how we can do that in different way? Like show that person that you are supporting. Okay, can I move to the next one?
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on. Um, so the next question is how did you manage to get time in the project for feedback and other activities since all the focus is on your delivery?
I have to read it one more time.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I got it. Of course, everyone is focusing on delivery, but in the middle of that, you have some processes and you dedicate time for retrospective or something else. Like it depends on the process you have on your current project. But for example, with Scrum, you set some estimation and you keep that like some spare time. You allocate that time in the very beginning to have some retrospective or reviews or something else. And also now this is very common practice and this is kind of useful. We have scheduled one-to-ones with different people, like your line manager schedule one-to-ones, and there is very good platform, like very good place for feedback. You can receive feedback for yourself and you can provide feedback for your people. So I would definitely plan that in advance. Like I would allocate time for that feedback um, in the beginning. And again, this is not good process if you always hurry up. You have to take some break to analyze. So even we are focusing on delivery, we have to allocate time for some feedback.
Yeah, I agree, and just wanted to add that if you're talking about delivery, especially about some frequent releases, yeah, so it means that everything is focused on feedback, right? Any loop. So we deliver something. For example, we get feedback, we change something in our behavior, in our processes, or in our product, and then release it again. And this is like essential part of the whole development process, right? So we can't split, for example, some part of it, because it is very important in the whole process, in the whole cycle. Cool. Yeah, I agree
And
with
one
you.
more,
Yeah.
Vyacheslav, I'd like to add here because that's important. Um, you have to analyze what kind of tasks you have in some time period. For example, if it's not Scrum like Kanban or like
Mhm.
Lean, but Lean is composite, okay. You take some time period, you divide like your project by time periods, and you analyze what kind of tasks you have in each time period. For example, with that sprint, you have some spikes, some features, some bugs, and some support tickets. And if you see that that statistics is similar from time period to another time period, then probably everything is fine if you decided to do like that. But if you see that some indicator is increased, for example, you became to do more support tickets, more and more, like, and less features, then something is wrong. This is just an example, can be something else. Probably you understand my idea, but you have
Yeah.
to analyze.
Yeah, and we need to analyze not only for the current period, but we also should analyze historical data.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
of
what you
course.
meant, right? Meant cool. Okay, let's move on. Probably a last question now, or maybe not. Thank you for your present. Hello, Natalia. Thank you for your presentation. What do you think about organizing courses of tech talks to teach people, managers, understand each other according to the difference of their personalities? I think
Um,
it's personal question for you.
I think I'm not qualified for that enough because this is more work for some psychologists. They can structure that better because here I'm just sharing my examples and my practice and what is important.
Mhm.
But in general, I like to lead some trainings, so I can take part. If you have a place for me, you can contact me and we can think how to organize something.
You wouldn't mind to take part in it, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
very good, cool. And I think we are running out of time, and we have a time only for answering one question. Let me ask our guys who support to. We had one question on YouTube. Guys, can you assist us to make it visible for all here? So the question is from Galina. What to do if teammate doesn't do all work according to definition of done? I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, definition of done. I think
yeah.
so. Well, discuss why again, ask question. Uh, First of all, do you have this definition of done listed somewhere? I don't know, can be Confluence, Wiki, what resource do you use? If you have clear definition of done, and if you close the story, if you move it to done, it means that it meet all definition of done. Then person who moves that story to done shouldn't do that and like refer to that person who tested that story and ask why some definition of done are not done. But if that teammate is just for purpose does that, um, this is a case to have one-to-one with a teammate and ask why, because can be different reasons. Maybe teammate doesn't understand the definition of done or does it on purpose, I don't know. But you have to have all this definition of done listed, and this definition of done have to be clear.
Yeah. Agree with you, and just wanted to add that, yeah, definition of done is agreement inside the team, and if it doesn't work, so it should be reviewed one more time, right? So this can be one of possible cases, uh, because sometimes it can be done by one person, for example, Scrum Master, for example, yeah, and it's not real agreement inside the team. It's just one person wrote it one day and asked all of them follow it. So
Yeah, yeah, of course. It has to be presented in advance. Like
yeah,
it has to be some meeting where we present in definition of done and everyone commits that it's clear and we can achieve them and so on.
yeah. Okay, cool. So let's maybe finishing up our today's event. It was very, very interesting, and thank you, Natalia, for joining our Pro community and share your knowledge. May I ask you to switch to the next slide? So, guys, if you like our event, so let's wait. Let's move. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
So
switch.
okay, thank you. So guys, if you liked our event, so please follow QR code and leave feedback and rate the talk on via community platform. You can also do it if you open our event on via community platform. Um, it's very important for us to get feedback and to see how we can improve our events in future. And if you have any ideas or anything else, please welcome to leave your feedback as well. So you will receive a feedback form with questions that you can send for us, and we will review them. Okay, so Natalia, one more time, thank you so much for joining us. Uh, Guys, wish you have a good the rest of the day and see you on our Pro Quality events.
Thank you, Vyacheslav. Thank you all. Thank you, Vyacheslav, for invitation, and thank you all for listening, for all your interesting questions, and for being here with us.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a good
Bye.
day.